Although I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, this podcast is not therapy and should not be used as therapeutic intervention. Many of the products and practices mentioned are for educational and informational purposes only. Should you need support, please seek appropriate, qualified, and licensed professionals. Hey y'all, welcome to Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist, the podcast where we navigate the murky waters between what society expects and what it means to truly live, embrace the messiness, the beautiful chaos of life, and celebrating the rebellion in the process. Whether you're a recent graduate, a seasoned therapist, or someone just curious, there's something here for everyone. But before we dive in, make sure you join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect to other like-minded souls. I'm your host, Shauna Lovin, a seasoned therapist and wellness educator with a very rebellious spirit. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's rebellion. Hey y'all, welcome to the first episode of Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist. Today, we're going to talk a little about where it all started. So let's dive into this rebellion today. So back in February, I unofficially and quietly celebrated 12 years of being a licensed counselor here in Texas. I realized that that's about exactly half the time that I have been officially in the mental health field. Now, it hasn't always been cupcakes and rainbows over the last, say, 24 years, but I've definitely learned a thing or two along the way. So let me take you back. About 18 months ago, I started to have this idea of what was I doing? Am I really helping people? Am I being effective? What's, just all these questions. And I started to think about the path that I was on. Is this the path that I should be on or was set out for me or what I have envisioned? And I realized that the path that I was currently on was not it. It was not the vision. It was not the passion, y'all. And so taking you further, maybe 20 years ago, or when I first was kind of getting into the field before I graduated college, I actually was thinking about running a mental health day spa with complimentary services, counseling, groups, yoga, you name it, it was in this place. I could envision that this was some kind of white house, like Victorian style, or a Southernly Charm style house with a white picket fence. It had lots of green space behind the house where people could go think and reflect. It was beautiful in my head. But over time, that vision seemed to have faded or kind of gone by the wayside because once you kind of get to grad school, you're taught these theories, you're taught this, you're taught that. They give you the idea of you're in this box and you're never going to work for yourself. I don't know about your grad school, but that's kind of how it was for mine. And you had the idea of you're always going to work for someone else. And so there was a lot of things that we didn't learn in grad school, which sucked. Because once you kind of got out and started doing other things, you realized that. And so I had this vision of this house and this business, but that's not the path that I was on. And so what happened is that when I originally went to school, I wanted to get a PhD, but that's not what I started out. And I was getting a master's and realized I should have been working on a PhD all along. And what I wanted to do was work with police. I couldn't do that with a master's. And so I had to figure out a way to how to make the degree that I was working on work. And so I started to take some extra classes to become licensed. And that there's a whole nother backstory to why it took me so long to finish school, but that's for another day. So I'm finishing school, I get out and I'm working, I have great jobs along the way, and just realizing that I am not doing what I think I should be doing. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why things were so off. I was on all the discovery platforms like Psychology Today, Therapy Den, you name it, therapy for Black girls. I was on it, wasn't getting clients. I was trying to go into coaching, wasn't getting clients. Trying to do this, nothing was happening. And it all boiled down to is that I don't think I was on my own journey, my own path. I started to get angry with myself because I was in this box that someone else placed me in. I've always had a rebellious spirit, but I wasn't using it for what I wanted, knowing that I had that vision and passion that I forgot about so many years ago. And so in 2019, when I started to set out on my own and kind of do this coaching thing and all these things and nothing was working, I realized that there was a lot of components that just didn't sit well with me. Like one, social media being one. It took me to like freaking 2013 to get on Facebook. So why am I going to do social media to market my business? Because that's what they tell you to do. Why am I going to be on these platforms? Because that's what they tell you to do. And I started to realize I was still doing all the things that everyone else was telling me to do and not following what was in my heart and not following what was my passion or the things that I really liked or wanted. And so I started to try to lean outside of the box. I took a hiatus probably a few times in the last 18 months from social media and trying to figure out like what to do. I know along the way that I've been bootstrapping my private practice. I know the clients that I have had in my private practice come from word of mouth. I know the associates that I work with come from word of mouth. And I knew that there was another way. I knew that I didn't need all this fancy social media stuff. And I knew that I didn't need all of these other places to have something that I really was happy and passionate and joyful about. And so I started to align with myself. And in the process of doing that, I realized that I am a projector in human design. I'm an emotional projector, a 3-5 projector. And that was telling me that I wasn't aligned all along anyway, because I like to experiment and I like to teach others. Come to find out. Can you believe that my mom and my aunt, they're all teachers, and I tried so hard for many years to not be a teacher. But what did I do? Ended up being a teacher for a short period of time. And now here I am teaching again. So I digress. So that brings me to today. I realized that I have not been on this path, this journey that I wanted. Now my path and journey is going to look very different now because yes, I'm a therapist. However, I still have a full-time job. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I got fur babies. We were paying a mortgage. We're doing all the things. And so what is the passion now looks very different than what the passion was then. And so the vision that's now, I'm trying to lean more into that because it's helping me be outside of the box. I'm learning to pivot my business and refocus what my work is. I'm trying to diversify my work so that I feel more complete and happier. Not just individual counseling, not just group counseling, not just whatever they tell you to do. I'm learning to combine my education as well as my personal passions to kind of make something new. I found myself just not really wanting to do counseling and feeling really down on myself because I felt like that was wrong. But when I realized what the original vision was, it never was counseling. Not necessarily by me, even though it was there. So you realize that things are not going well. So what do? You have to learn to take a pivot. You have to learn to figure out what do you want to do and how you want your life to look. Because ultimately, if nothing changes, it's going to come back on you because no one else can make the changes for you. And so as I'm going through this rediscovery, I realized that I've always kind of wanted to helping professionals, partly because my husband is a first responder, but I think it kind of fell in my lap. But I've always been drawn to teachers and nurses, medical professionals, fire, police, like all the people that help people. For some reason, I'm drawn to them. But the one thing that I noticed with helping them is that I'm included, tend to focus on everybody else's well-being and not our own. I also noticed that we lose ourselves in the process of helping others. We're not engaging in self-care, even though we know self-care is probably the most helpful thing for us. We know about burnout. We know about compassion fatigue. We know about secondary trauma, but yet we're still not helping ourselves. We have like this go, go, go lifestyle, and we know that is just creating some anxiety for us, maybe depression for others. We've probably self-diagnosed, but don't want to admit it. We know that our mental health and our well-being just overall sucks. We know that, but yet we're not doing anything about it. And so that's why I want to step in here. I want to be that guiding light. I want to be the force for you to help you realize that you need to put yourself first. Yeah, I know it's cliche to say put your mask on first before you help others. But for people who are helpers, that becomes important for us to do our best work. It really does. Part of this is learning to embody your own self-care. It's learning to embody the messiness of life. It's learning to embody, the things that make us human, because we are human before we're a therapist. So, as I'm on this journey to rediscover myself, my life, my business, mental health, and all the things, I want you to come with me. I want you to be on this journey. I want you to find things that I bring to you. You learn from them. You learn from my mistakes so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. I want you to be a part of the process that we can create a community of therapists where we're all learning from each other. We're all supporting each other, and we're all like leaning outside of the box. So if you are ready to come on this journey with me, and if you're ready to rediscover who you are, then I invite you to come with us. Thanks for joining today's rebellion with me. Remember, it's okay to be a hot mess sometimes. It's all part of the journey. Until next time, stay rebellious, stay authentic, and keep embracing the beautiful messiness of life. Don't forget to join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect with other like-minded souls. And anything mentioned in today's episode will be linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, you share with a friend, you leave a review, and you keep coming back for more. This podcast was brought to you by Healing Roots Wellness and Botanicals. For more information, please visit healingrootswab.com.